language.
Well, I'm going to try. If I can pick up just a few phrases, at least I can help get the message across.
Okay, this has been Jerry Dyer with the Officers' News for this week. In the show, you normally hear me say over to Roger Cheney at the sports desk. Well, tonight's a very special occasion because Roger is returning to the United Kingdom on Saturday. And tonight he has his replacement for 5 weeks, Cindy. Well, Roger and Cindy, welcome to Channel 4 News tonight.
Thank you, John. Welcome.
Roger, the main sports event, of course, of the week was the soccer match. How did the soccer match with the Goanese go?
Yes, well, it was a very good game between Goa United and Sun Princess All-Stars. It was a lot harder for the Sun Princess All-Stars than we thought. The eventual score was Sun Princess All-Stars 3, Goa United 2. As, the conditions wasn't of the best. It was a bit sandy, the pitch was, as Cindy can tell you. But it was a very good game, and we're going to have a return match in the near future.
Okay, Cindy, this was your first soccer match, which you covered. In a few moments' time, we are going to be seeing your exclusive interviews with the key players. How did you enjoy your first soccer match?
I found it very interesting. I couldn't see how they could play barefooted in that sand. There were a lot of rocks and everything, but it seemed that was easier for them to run in the sand than with the shoes.
Okay, well, we're now going to show you the interviews and the film we shot last week in Juneau.
Cindy Kling, NBC News, broadcasting live from the lifeboat on the way to Douglas Island for the big match between Goa United and the Sun Princess All-Stars. I have here today with me the captains of each of the teams, and I'd like to ask them a few questions. Gizzy, you're the captain of the Sun Princess All-Stars. What do you think your chances are of a good game today?
Well, we've had half a dozen of our key players pull out at the last minute. This can't be helped. We've managed to call on half a dozen good substitutes. And I think there's going to be a good game, and I expect us to win.
Okay. And Alimo?
Yes?
Okay. How do you feel that the strength of your team is today?
Sure, it's quite strong, you know. Definitely we're going to win.
I wasn't aware that they played soccer in Goa. Do you play it quite often there?
Yeah, we play quite often.
I have direct orders from the colonel that I'm supposed to cover all the goals. The only problem is this is my first soccer match, and how do I know when you're about to score?
Well, I think I can safely say on behalf of the All-Stars, when we're about to score, you'll certainly know it.
Okay, well, thank you, the two captains. 3-2 in favor of 2-all. Well, there you have it. The Sun Princess All-Stars have now become the new champions of the Sun Princess. We'll be having a few interviews with some of the key players in this game. Here we have Nick Howard. Nick, you made what became one of the winning goals. How did you feel when you made that kick into the goal there?
Well, it helped equalise it because the Goanese were really putting on a good fight. There's a bit more grass last year, actually. I know it's gone during the winter, but it's rather like playing on the sand at the beach. But a very good game. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Congratulations on a good game.
How do you?
Here we have the captain of the winning team, Jimmy Gisborne. Jimmy, how does it feel to be the champions of the Sun Princess?
Very, very tiring.
I see that the court, what do you call it, field was not all that great today. It was more like playing on the beach.
Cindy, that was marvellous. Obviously, you enjoyed your first soccer match. How's it like over there?
Well, it was very interesting. I enjoyed the boat ride over there. That made it nice. And it was very sandy. The wind was blowing pretty hard, but it was interesting because a few of the Goanese guys played barefooted, which I would have found very difficult to do, but they did very well.
Okay, Roger, a few days ago you did tell me in private that you were a bit concerned about your job when you returned to the Sun Princess. You were afraid that you wouldn't have your job on the Channel 4 News team. Do you feel a little bit reassured now?
Oh, yes, I'm very reassured now. I've seen Cindy, and she made a good job of the film, and I think she'll do very well.
Okay, Roger. Cindy, before we go off the air here, one last problem which has arisen, of course, is the changing room. How are you going to do the exclusive interviews in the men's locker room?
Well, Colonel, that does pose a problem, but if the men can handle it, so can I.
Okay, there was your new sportscaster, Cindy Kling.
Chip. I have here today with me the actual winner of the race, Malcolm, the night watchman. Malcolm, welcome to Channel 4 News.
Thank you.
How did you feel when you won that race?
Relieved.
Was there any point during the race that you felt that you perhaps would not finish?
Most of the way.
What happened?
I was just tiring. It was a steep hill. Very tired.
How was the weather that day? Was it cold?
That was just right. It was nice. Not much wind. Just right.
Well, I've heard rumors that there will be another Skagway race this year. What are your thoughts about this? Will you consider entering again?
I'll consider it, but it doesn't mean I will.
You mean that there's a possibility that you won't go through the grueling pace of the great Skagway race of 1980?
Yeah, at the moment, I'm just not too sure.
Well, thank you for being with us today, Malcolm.
Thank you.
Yet another survivor of the great Skagway race of 1978. It is no wonder that Martin was able to survive that race because he works under such intense pressure in his job. It must prepare him well for the rigors of an enduring race like the Great Skagway race of 1978. Martin?
Yep.
We'd like to ask you a few questions about that great race. How did you feel when you finally crossed that finish line?
Very relieved. I didn't actually cross it so much as fell over it.
Yes. And what was the one thing that you remembered most about that race when you were running there?
Coming down from the lower lake, falling headfirst down a very steep part of the track. That was probably the worst thing. That was probably sticks in my mind most of all. And being overtaken by somebody running backwards.
Somebody running backwards?
Yes, apparently one of the APs, Paul Broom, did the last 100 yards of the race backwards and still managed to beat me.
That is very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Martin, and we hope to see you again this year for yet another great Skagway race.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Thank you.
It has come to our attention, team and the Sun Princess All-Stars in Juneau this coming Monday at 2:45. Don't be late. The match promises to be an excellent one, as the last one was. This has been Cindy Kling, Channel 4, NBC News. Back to you, Colonel, in the studio.
It's now time to go over to that very famous reporter, David Ripoff. And after last week's very unusual report about the bullies in the world, this week he's going to take us to the wilds of Canada.
Good evening, nature lovers everywhere. My report this week has brought me on a nature trail along Canada's spectacular Pacific coast to what must be one of the most peaceful settings on this earth. I've journeyed so far with great excitement. For tonight, I hope to renew the acquaintance of a special friend who was first introduced to me many years ago in a tea room at Cheddar Gorge. For this glacier-fed stream is the mayonnaise manufacturer's utopia. It is the only breeding ground of Phichicus ferus, the steelback salmon. Follow me and watch with care as I endeavour to show you the sturdy species that have battled their way for hundreds of miles back to their mating grounds here in Canada. Oh, and it seems as if they look the way they're changing their colour as they're getting ready for mating up here. It's another one, I think. This is a European variety of the species, as you note by the colour and the texture of the name. But this looks as if this is not only species that are seen to be mating here. I don't believe it. There seems to be another variety use this area for a mating species, and well, just have a look. John, have a look over there. It would appear that this place is the breeding ground of more than one species. Well, they seem to have very peculiar selective breeding habits. Anyway, it's back to you in the studios, Colonel. This is Dave Ripoff.
Well, David, thank you very much again for that marvellous report. And each week your reports seem to be getting either more unusual or more exciting. And hopefully, David, your feet will have thawed out by next week's show. Well, this brings us to the end of another Channel 4 News this week. I'm Colonel John Kling in the chair with my team, including